తీసుకొని వచ్చి మీరు చదువు చెప్తున్న ఊరిలో ఉన్న పిల్లలు పిలిపించి ప్లెయిన్ పేపర్ ఇచ్చి ఒక జాబ్ కోసం అప్లికేషన్ ఫిలప్ చేయమని. ఇది క్రిమినల్ వేస్ట్. వాడు ఇంజనీరింగ్ చదువుకున్న చిన్న జాబ్ కోడు, స్కిల్స్ నేర్చుకోడు. తల్లిదండ్రులు మా పిల్లోడు ఇంజనీరింగ్ అయింది ఉద్యోగం అంటారు, నా దగ్గరకు వస్తుంటారు కాన్స్టిట్యున్సీ నుంచో బంధువులు, మావాడు ఇంజనీరింగ్ చదివి పెద్ద పెద్ద చదువు చదివింది సార్ అంటారు. పేరెంట్స్కి తెలియదు కదా.
The Chief Minister argued that while lakhs of students graduate with engineering degrees every year, many lack the basic skills. Revanth Reddy claimed that several graduates are unable to even fill out a job application, calling it a failure of the education system rather than the students' aspirations. His remarks sparked a political storm, with the BRS and the BJP accusing him of insulting engineering students. BRS spokesperson Krishank Mane questioned the Chief Minister's stand, saying the same Gen Z youth he wants in politics are now being labelled a criminal waste.
This reckless statement of Revanth Reddy should be condemned. We demand Revanth Reddy and the Congress party to apologize to the Gen Z and the engineering students for these careless and reckless statements. Such a Chief Minister putting his own state students to shame for politics is absolutely shameful, and the Congress party has to take responsibility for it and apologize to the engineering students and graduates.
Demanding an apology, the BRS said Hyderabad's thriving IT sector has been built on the contribution of engineering graduates, whom the CM has unfairly criticized. Congress leaders, however, defended Revanth Reddy, saying his remarks highlighted the growing skill gap and employability crisis rather than targeting students personally.
The very idea of giving that statement is there are many colleges where engineers are becoming graduates in the colleges where they are not having minimum knowledge. That is why they are not in a position to get the employment. That is what he wanted to tell.
Meanwhile, Nishikant Dubey of the BJP stated that CM Reddy is following the lines given to him by the Congress High Command.
बेसिकली वो विद्यार्थी परिषद से निकले हैं तो उनकी मानसिकता तो ठीक है, लेकिन राहुल गांधी जो कहते हैं उनको वही इम्प्लीमेंट करना है. तो वो दुखी हो गए हैं और वो राहुल गांधी के ही कहने पर, जो राहुल गांधी जी कहते हैं कि ये बात बोलो, तो इसी बात के आधार पर वो बोल रहे हैं.
Chief Minister Revanth Reddy's remark has now turned into a matter of political debate.
And viewers, moving ahead, Gurugram police arrested a youth for performing stunts on a Lamborghini on Dwarka Expressway. And authorities have seized the vehicle and apprehended the youth following an investigation. Here's a quick report. Take a look.
A youth performing stunts in a Lamborghini was caught red-handed by the police. The incident occurred on Delhi's Dwarka Expressway, where the youth was seen performing stunts in the posh vehicle. Upon information, the Gurugram police apprehended the youth after an investigation. A strict warning was issued, and police stated that stringent action would be taken against those violating traffic rules. The cops also appealed to parents to keep their children away from doing dangerous stunts and added that such incidents are being continuously monitored.
And viewers, 11 days after severe flooding hit Assam, nearly 13,000 households are still without electricity. The flood situation remains critical across Upper Assam, affecting over 3 lakh people, with the death toll rising to 78. Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma confirmed power is being restored slowly as flood waters continue to recede. However, the India Meteorological Department has issued a fresh alert for heavy rainfall in Assam, Arunachal Pradesh and Nagaland over the next 3 days. Take a look at this visual story for more updates on the Assam flood.
Overall flood situation has improved because there was no rain after 21st So situation has improved, but the problem is damage is so huge. People are not in a position to go back to their home because house has been destroyed. Mud has entered into the house. Even it is difficult to reach certain area because roads are completely blocked by the mud which the rain carried from the hills of Nagaland.
वो इसे मार के गया ना, घर बाड़ी बराबर करके गया है। खुद आदमी का अलावा कुछ नहीं बचा है। हम लोग को तो क्या करेगा, हम लोग को समझ में नहीं आया कैसे क्या करेगा। खाली आदमी जैसे तैसे निकला है, कुछ समझ में नहीं आया। मैंने ना गाय बकरी को बचाएगा ना आदमी को बचाएगा, कुछ समझ में नहीं आया। ना घर का सामान बचाएगा, खाली जैसे तैसे आदमी निकाला है, वो भी इतना पानी में।
Bharatiya Janata Party and the families of our Karyakarta contributed almost 1,80,000 Mekhala Sadar, 1,80,000 T-shirts and 1,50,000 mosquito nets for the flood affected families of Sibsagar, Saraideo, Golaghat and Jorhat district. Overall flood situation has improved because there was no rain after 21st. So situation has improved, but the problem is damage is so huge. People are not in a position to go back to their home because house has been destroyed. Mud has entered into the house. Even it is difficult to reach certain area because roads are completely blocked by the mud which the rain carried from the hills of Nagaland. So difficulty, misery, pain continues, but the flood as a whole has subsided, and I think situation in respect of flood will improve in days to come, but it is important how we solve the pain and misery of the flood victims.
Coming up after a short break, Prime Minister Modi warns the exam syndicate, promises strict action against those playing with students' future. Coming up next, stay tuned.
আর প্যার सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर्नब मसाला।
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा से MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH।
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but, you know, we got to smack them a little bit.
The United States has launched airstrikes on Iran hours after President Donald Trump warned Tehran of a strong military response. The strikes mark the first major American attack since Trump paused the bombing campaign last week. Trump had earlier vowed to hit Iran very hard after an Iranian missile attack on an American base in Jordan. Within hours, US forces launched retaliatory strikes, escalating tensions across the Middle East.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but, you know, we got to smack them a little bit. Yeah, I think more so that, yeah, because it was another smaller event. But no, they sent 8,000-mile-an-hour missiles at us, and fortunately we had our people operating the greatest equipment in the world, namely the Patriot system. Think of it, 5 missiles going 8,600 miles an hour, big ones, coming right at us, and all 5 were shot down. How about that, right? Pretty good. Only we, nobody else could do that but us, yeah.
US forces began launching strikes against Iran at 8 p.m. ET today.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा से MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH। थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है।
अरे मेरे राजा
अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say मोदी जी clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
आपको समझ ना आए तो आप घर जाके गूगल पे आप सर्च कर लेना ये क्या नारा है। वो नारा देते थे वास्ते गुने हुइयां, और वो नारा देते थे इतने प्यार से, इतनी खूबसूरत तरीके से इस्तीफा मांगते थे, कहते थे जब आपसे इस्तीफा भी मांगते थे तो कहते थे कुचू पुचू इस्तीफा दे दो, आज हमारा जन्मदिन है।
विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते, तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन करते हैं.
So these are the three categories: student, idiot, and andhbhakt who follows the idiot. Now,
प्रश्न है कि
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे.
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं.
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा. रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी से बना.
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं. रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी बार एकदम सॉलिड.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ.
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट. अब बताओ, स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized. But, you know, we got to smack them a little bit.
The United States has launched airstrikes on Iran hours after President Donald Trump warned Tehran of a strong military response. The strikes mark the first major American attack since Trump paused the bombing campaign last week. Trump had earlier vowed to hit Iran very hard after an Iranian missile attack on an American base in Jordan. Within hours, US forces launched retaliatory strikes, escalating tensions across the Middle East.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized. But, you know, we got to smack them a little bit. Yeah, I think more so that, yeah, because it was another smaller event. But no, they sent 8,000 mile-an-hour missiles at us. And fortunately, we had our people operating the greatest equipment in the world, namely the Patriot system. Think of it, 5 missiles going 8,600 miles an hour, big ones, coming right at us. And
hello and welcome. You're watching Republic. I'm Aditi Bhardwaj. Republic requests you to help the severe flood situation in Assam while the rescue teams are doing their best. Republic stays with the people of Assam and urges nationwide to send help to the people in Assam. Let's take a look at the top headlines at this hour.
Headlines brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
The family members of injured police personnel have now spoken up, saying that the protests in Jantar Mantar were anything but peaceful, demand justice. Amid disruption and derailment by the opposition, Lok Sabha adjourned till Monday after opposition's ruckus. Even Rajya Sabha will resume now on Monday. Building collapses in Maharashtra's Bhiwandi. Death toll has increased to 9.
और साथ साथ फिर से कोई पेपर माफिया, पेपर लीक करने वाली गैंग, देश के बच्चों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ करने वाली गैंग, उनको बख्शा नहीं जाएगा.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi warns the exam syndicate, promises strict action against those playing with students' future in his 4th Instagram outreach.
Sorry, Mumbai. Sorry, Goswami. Sorry, Ruchi. मैं ऐसे जा रही हूँ.
Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami orders CBCID probe in Shrishti Khandari alleged dowry death case. Mother-in-law, husband all booked by the cops. Pakistani security personnel invade homes, hit and target Kashmiri women. India bags 2 more medals in Commonwealth. Lovepreet Singh secures a silver while Seema Kalrima claims bronze. The Foreign Contribution Regulation Act bill is set to be tabled in the Lok Sabha next week. Breaking news coming in, and Republic confirms that next week the centre is all set to table the contentious FCRA bill in Parliament. Union Home Minister Amit Shah expected to lead the debate inside the House. All preparations have been made. This bill regulates foreign funding to the NGOs, to other organizations working in India and receiving foreign funding. So stay set for another fiery and another contentious bill is now being set to be tabled next week. From Monday onwards, we will see that how the stage is being prepared. The centre is all set to introduce the bill in the Parliament. News will be tightened on the foreign funding that is being given to NGOs in India to operate, to function, and how the FCRA bill will tighten all the aspects. As you can see that before this amendment, there was a state approval, but now it will be stronger governance that will take place if this bill is passed. However, the opposition has said that they will oppose the bill and they will not let this bill pass. But this is not the first time. We have seen how Republic has been exposing this foreign funding which is harming India and India's interests, how it has been working against India's interests. And we have done a 3-state investigation which shows that how foreign funding is being misused to harm India. Hence, the new FCRA bill becomes crucial to be passed in the Parliament and news to be tightened on the foreign funding that is being received by the NGOs here in India. So next week is when a new showdown will happen. First, we saw an anti-paper leak bill, then we saw on Vande Mataram, and now from Monday, fiery frameworks in the FCRA will definitely spark fireworks inside the Parliament. The centre is set to introduce it in Parliament next week. Home Minister Amit Shah will be leading the debate. Remember, the centre has promised that this will only benefit the country and the regulations are needed at this hour. This bill currently certificates the registration that is to be renewed every 5 years. It also allows NGOs to receive money from foreign sources. And now under what specific conditions, that has to be credible, that has to be ensured that all the foreign funding that is being received is transparent. Hence, the new FCRA bill becomes clearly more important for the country's interest. So the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, the FCRA, is likely to be introduced. This is after 2 weeks of Republic's expose on how this foreign funding is harming Indian interests. My colleague Abhishek Kapoor is also joining me with more details. Abhishek, tell us the contentious bill that is likely to be tabled next week.
Well, you see, it's contentious only because the opposition wants it to be like that, Aditi. But otherwise, if you look at it, the most talked about point of contention being that this is against missionaries is not true, because as it has already been explained, and the Union Home Minister Amit Shah actually met a delegation of cardinals and bishops and told them in person that of the overall foreign remittances that come through FCRA, just about 15 or 17% come through the missionaries. So it's not that this bill is specifically targeted for missionaries. It's just that these provisions, because FCRA is essentially a law that channelizes funds for social causes, and because in the earlier existing law, those causes are fungible and they are not decided. And many times those gaps are misused and abused by donors and the users alike. Much of the funding has actually gone to left-wing extremism. in Naxal-affected, Maoist-affected areas. Also, we have seen, misuse of these funds to create narrative agendas / propagandas against the government of the day. And that's why those gaps need to be filled. Missionaries need not be unduly concerned about it unless there is something which is illegal about the channelization of funds, in which case it just generally becomes a crime. So I think the opposition is sort of trying to fish in troubled waters, and that's why impending amendments which are to be introduced next week have become contentious. But if you look at what we did at Republic last month with the deep investigation showing that missionary / conversion activities beyond the pale of law are continuing, and so of course those gaps need to be plugged, and that's why these amendments being brought in.
Absolutely, Abhishek. Do stay with us. We also have Niranjan joining us from the newsroom. Niranjan, Republic exposed how FCRA bill is need of the hour. Tell us more about the investigation that was done by Republic.
Okay, so Aditi, it's like this. I mean, in June, Republic began an investigation. We went into different states, different parts of the Maoist hinterland, because we were following a story of Timothy Initiative, TTI, Timothy Initiative, which gets funding, which is based in America and was pumping money into India. And essentially money was being brought from America to India and being sent to different states like Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, etc. And this money, especially, we saw a pattern, and there was also a case filed. The pattern was that the money was being withdrawn in Maoist hinterland, and especially in Bastar, in Chhattisgarh, Damtari and Bastar. These are Maoist affected areas. And the Enforcement Directorate and the central agencies believe that a large chunk of this money was going into pushing people, one, into conversion, and second, into extremist ideology, to picking up arms, to convert them into Maoists. So we did a deep investigation. It was a 2 to 3 week investigation that we did, and we put the story out about 2 weeks back. And in our story that we put out this month, earlier in July, we showed how a large number of NGOs. Now, what is FCRA? FCRA is an act of Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act. Now, this bill is being brought in because in India there are thousands and thousands of NGOs. And all these NGOs are getting money into India from different countries. That's why it's called Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act. For the longest time, NGOs have used the guise of social work to get money from different countries and use it for different subversive activities, anti-national activities in India. For example, money coming in from America was being used for conversion in India. And it's not me just saying it. Investigation has proven it. There is TTI. And the investigation carried out by Republic also showed that a large chunk of this money was sent to India. And the man who was caught from TTI, Mark Mika, he was carrying foreign debit cards of a foreign bank called Truist Bank. Foreign money brought to India. Money was withdrawn using foreign debit cards in places like Damtari, in places like Bastar. And this money was withdrawn and used by church bodies. Now, this was the allegation. This was also investigated. In fact, in the course of our investigation, we went to Damtari, we went to Bastar. In fact, Shambhavi was there, and our entire team worked on it. And what we found out is that there are many NGOs that continue to get money from foreign countries and use that for conversion activities. Now, why is this bill important? This new FCRA bill is important because it brings in few changes to the FCRA Act, with mostly, as of now, the church bodies are opposing. Why the church bodies are opposing? Because as per the new FCRA Act, if an NGO does not get permission or does not get the license, or if the license, FCRA license, is not approved, then the assets of that NGO, or let's take for example a church, the assets of the church will be taken over by a body until the FCRA license is revoked, is given again. Now, church bodies are in panic because, and they have gone, in fact, the entire opposition for some reason is in panic. No reason for the opposition to be in panic, but it appears that mostly the opposition is in panic. Parties like Congress, parties like Left, parties like Samajwadi Party, now DMK, all of these parties have been opposing this vehemently, saying that the FCRA bill should not be going through. Interestingly, you also saw bishops from different churches actively participate and campaign in the so-called CJP protest. And then you ask a question on why were they also supporting a movement like that. It raises many questions. Many people believe that FCRA could have been the real reason. But this is significant, symbolic. What will it do? It will make sure that all foreign monies coming into India is regulated. It should be the case, right? Because FCRA cannot be used as a tool to bring in money and destabilize India. And just one last point that I want to make. One is control of assets, which they have been opposing vehemently. Secondly, the new FCRA Act, the amendments ensure that you can't bring in foreign money and use it to forcefully convert people in India. You can no longer, and for the longest time, we've done several investigations on this, people have been caught red-handed. NGOs working in different parts of the country. For example, recently in Lucknow, there was a case where, this church body was caught red-handed converting people. Why would you do that? Why would you do that when you're getting in money, when you have an FCRA license? For example, one of the church bodies we investigated called the Mennonite Church, its FCRA license was scrapped a couple of times between 2010 and 2020. And they continue to be involved in conversions in Bastar, Chhattisgarh. This was our investigation. And that is why I'm saying that this FCRA Act is going to have huge ramifications. It is linked to national security. It is linked to forced conversions. And it is, I think it will also be the time when perhaps we will see the Home Minister Amit Shah come out and respond to all these people who have been questioning him. So I think we're headed for fireworks this next week. The FCRA bill, one of the headlines of this session, of this parliament session, and we're all looking forward to it. Back to you for now.
Absolutely. Niranjan, this is the case that you were referring in Lucknow. 10 people were arrested. 10 people from Tamil Nadu went to Lucknow to forcefully convert some people, and then they were caught red-handed. Then the investigation that we did uprooted why it is about the nation first, and the opposition has time and again been seeing that whenever it comes to national security, transparency of some organizations, they always have a problem with new regulations.
Well, that's correct. See, it's not about one state or another state. It is certainly something which is not adding up, okay? Every year, FCRA licenses of thousands of NGOs, like I said, let's say 6,000, 7,000 of these NGOs, maybe 10,000 apply, 6,000, 7,000 NGOs licenses are approved. But you will see that in a large number of cases, for example, when we went to Chhattisgarh, there were many churches from Kerala or from Tamil Nadu or from Karnataka or from different states operating there. Similarly, you mentioned Lucknow. There were people from Tamil Nadu who were arrested in Lucknow, and there were people from Kerala also who were spotted in Lucknow trying to convert people. Now, why would you do that, right? It is like this. I mean, take an example of what the opposition has been saying. You have Congress Party, for example. Congress Party, which just until last week, or even until this morning, if I'm not wrong, the minister in Karnataka, Priyank Kharge, son of Kharge, the Congress president, has been saying what is wrong in asking RSS for accountability. He's asking RSS to register itself. Right. Now, Congress wants RSS to register, but they don't want NGOs to register and be accountable. Can you imagine the irony in this argument by just taking that one case study of what they want? That is why this is all about accountability. Every penny coming in from other countries should be accounted for, should be used as per the laws of the land. It's as simple as that. Back to you for now, Aditi.
Absolutely, Niranjan. This is what we have been unearthing in our expose. We have shown you why it is important to have a Foreign Contributions Regulation Act bill, why there is a need for a stricter regulation in the country, and that's why next week, viewers, Republic confirms that FCRA bill will be tabled in the parliament. There will be debate on it, and Union Home Minister Amit Shah will be leading the debate. And obviously, as Niranjan said, that there will be fireworks. The opposition is unhappy with the bill, but the centre claims that this is needed for more transparency. Thank you so much, Niranjan, for those details. Shifting our focus now to the Bhiwandi building collapse, where the death toll has now risen to 10. This after a 4-story house collapsed while repair work was underway on the premises. The process of registering an FIR against the owner and the contractor is underway. A compensation of 5 lakh rupees has been declared to rescue ops by the National Disaster Response Force Thane. and other areas are also underway. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister also took to social media and stated that he was deeply saddened by the news of the loss of lives due to the building collapse and has sent his condolences to the families of the grieving. My prayers are there. This is what the Prime Minister said. Take a look.
मम्मी और मेरे पापा बाहर निकले और मैं उसमें फंस चुकी थी, मैं उसमें पूरी दब चुकी थी। फिर भी मैंने कोशिश किया। वहाँ की पूरी पानी, वहाँ की पूरी मिट्टी मुझको पूरे दबा चुकी थी। मैंने मतलब मैं वहाँ पे खो चुकी थी एक तरह से। फिर मैंने कोशिश नहीं हारा, फिर भी वहाँ से मैं निकलने की पूरी तरह से कोशिश की। मैं अपनी मम्मी अपने पापा को दोनों को आवाज लगाई, तो भी मम्मी पापा तक आवाज बिल्कुल भी नहीं गई। मम्मी पापा भी मुझे आवाज लगा रहे थे, तो भी मम्मी पापा का भी आवाज नहीं आ रहा था, ना मेरा आवाज आ रहा था। फिर भी मैंने कोशिश नहीं हारा। वहां से मैंने बहुत कोशिश की, बहुत जी जान लगाई जहां से मैं बाहर निकली, बट वहां पूरी तरीके से फंस चुकी थी। और मतलब ये वर्कर्स जो थे ये काम सही तरीके से नहीं किए, नहीं तो आज वो सही तरीके से किया होता तो आज ये हादसा नहीं होता।
Big breaking news coming in now in the Ankit Sharma murder case. Tahir Hussain has been sentenced to life imprisonment. That's the verdict that has come out. Remember, the court hearing was underway and Tahir Hussain was produced in the court, and now a big relief for the Ankit Sharma's family has come with Tahir Hussain being convicted, being awarded life imprisonment by the court. Remember, the mutilated body of Ankit Sharma was recovered during the Delhi riots in 2020, and after that this whole case surfaced where the role of Tahir Hussain was amply clear, and the court has now delivered its verdict by awarding Tahir Hussain life imprisonment. Another accused are also in the IB official Ankit Sharma murder case have been awarded life imprisonment. This has come after the court hearing was underway. Tahir Hussain was produced on July 27. Prosecution, remember, had sought capital punishment for Tahir Hussain and 4 others. But now it has been said that Tahir Hussain has been given life imprisonment. It is also rarest of the rare cases. This is the Delhi riots 2020 case where the Karkarduma court has now finally given out its verdict. The former AAP Neta Tahir Hussain has been sentenced to life. This comes after his role was amply clear. Remember, Ankit Sharma, the young IB official, his body was recovered mutilated from a drain in Northeast Delhi riots. After this, the role of former Aam Aadmi Party Neta Tahir Hussain has come to light. There were video evidence of how he instigated people there, how stones were pelted, how the situation went out of control. Several Delhi police officials were injured, and in that even IB official Ankit Sharma was brutally murdered. And now Tahir Hussain, the former Aam Aadmi Party Neta, has been awarded life imprisonment by the Delhi Karkarduma court. Remember, this case has been treated as rarest of the rare. The conduct of the rioters, including convicts, demands that they be given a death sentence. That was the demand of the prosecution. And now sentenced to life is the verdict that has come out in this. You can see the visuals. These are from the 2020 Delhi riots when everything was captured on camera. The role of former Aam Aadmi Party Neta was amply clear in the video evidence. The Delhi cops have now proven in the court that he is responsible for the murder of IB official Ankit Sharma. 6 accused out of 11, remember, have been acquitted by the court. Tahir Hussain has been convicted for the substantive offence of Section 188, and he has several evidence against him. He's now been given life sentence. We also have Sarthak joining now. Sarthak, tell us the court proceedings, what exactly transpired when Tahir Hussain was produced inside the court.
Well, this is a big breaking news that we are getting for our viewers. The Delhi court has sentenced former AAP councillor Tahir Hussain to life imprisonment in the 2020 Delhi riots case, and there are 4 other convicts who have also been sentenced to life imprisonment. And while pronouncing this particular sentence, the court observed that there were convicts can be incited. They incited. The crime that was committed by them, it indicated that he was the main conspirator and the main instigator, and he bears a greater responsibility for influencing others to participate in this particular offense on that particular. This has been observed very explicitly by the court that formed part of its reasoning while awarding this life imprisonment to the court. And it is a very significant development. Just to remind the viewers, this case arises out of the 2020 Northeast Delhi riots, which broke out between 23rd to 26th February of 2020. I'm sorry, leaving 53 people dead, and there were nearly 200 people who got injured. And this former AAP councillor Tahir Hussain was accused of leading a mob and conspiring in the killing of an intelligence bureau officer.
Right, Officer Ankit Sharma murder case. Now finally some relief and justice prevails after Tahir Hussain has been awarded life sentence by the Delhi's Karkarduma court. Remember, this was when Tahir Hussain was seen leading the mob, was seen instigating the mob. All the proof is there available, and the judge also noted the barbarity of the crime is nauseating and sickening, but the convicts are not beyond reformation. Sarthak is still with us. Sarthak, tell us more about what the judge said. I'm hearing that the judge observed the barbarity of the crime is nauseating and sickening.
Well, absolutely. While imposing this particular sentence, the court observed that illiterate convicts can be incited to commit a crime by a principal accused. They were emphasizing that there is a greater culpability of a person who instigates and directs others to commit a crime, and that's exactly the position the court has taken against Tahir Hussain, that he was one of the.
Sarthak, do stay with us. We also are getting reactions. We have Charu Pragya from the BJP joining us. Charu, your first reaction on Tahir Hussain, the former Aam Aadmi Party Neta, getting a life sentence?
Good afternoon. I think we have always maintained since 2020 that Tahir Hussain was the perpetrator of Delhi riots. Aam Aadmi Party thought we were politicizing the issue, but now the court has ruled in the people's favor. I'm very glad this has happened. In fact, at a point like this, I would say even life imprisonment is too less, because the man who is accused of murder, the man who is murdered, is an IB officer. And so many others. We lost 53 lives in Delhi. All of those lives are precious, and for instigated riots that took so many lives, that caused so much disruption, deserve the stringent punishment, more stringent than even life imprisonment.
Charu, now, you're saying this, but the Aam Aadmi Party will then say that they had distanced from this person long back.
No, they haven't. That is misinformation. Tell me exactly when they distanced. He was giving statements in his favor. When Saurabh Bharadwaj was defending him every step of the way and pretending that Aam Aadmi Party had nothing to do with the riots that lashed across Delhi. That's not the case. The only time they distanced themselves was when Tahir Hussain, by himself, decided to leave the party and join another. He contested in last Delhi Assembly elections. So tell me, how is it that the opposition distanced themselves? They were supporting him throughout 2025 elections. He stood.
Okay, so you're saying that the role of the Aam Aadmi Party was clear, and he was getting the shield of the Aam Aadmi Party. But Charu, now that the life sentence has been awarded, do you think that this is enough?
No, let me also say one more thing. Tahir Hussain was a mere councillor. At that point of time, he couldn't have been working in isolation at all. we still maintain that the kingpin of the riots was Arvind Kejriwal, because he was the one who gave the go-ahead, he was the one who gave the orders, he was the one who allowed Delhi to burn right under his nose every single day for months and months.
Charu, that's a big allegation that is being made by the BJP. They're saying that Tahir Hussain is still a small fish on the pond, but the real kingpin is Arvind Kejriwal, who was responsible for aiding and abetting Tahir Hussain back then in 2020 when the riots broke out. Remember, the Aam Aadmi Party was in the Delhi government, and hence the role of the Aam Aadmi Party is under lens. But Charu, now that the role is clear, there is proof. Will the BJP, now that you have the government in Delhi, will this case be probed even further?
The probe in the case is actually on. Like I said, we have only understood what happened with Ankit Sharma, the IB officer. There are 52 other deaths left to probe. The rights, the perpetrators, the other people involved, the fact that we have videos of Tahir Hussain at the roof of his house. And I still remember them very clearly. 2020, we had visuals of Tahir Hussain at the roof of his house, encouraging everyone to stock up on petrol bombs, on bricks, on sticks, lathis, iron rods, etc. We remember all of that. He had an entire army of volunteers with him. It was organized, it was planned, the arson was planned, the murders were planned.
Okay, thank you so much, Charu Pragya, for joining us. So the BJP is making a big claim over here. They're saying that Tahir Hussain is still not the right person to be awarded the life imprisonment, but also Arvind Kejriwal's role should be probed. The whole Aam Aadmi Party's role should be probed in this. But for now, the Delhi's Karkarduma court has given life imprisonment to former Aam Aadmi Party Neta Tahir Hussain. Charges include murder, rioting and criminal conspiracy, and the court has observed that he instigated the mob, and it is rarest of the rare how brutally the mutilated body of Ankit Sharma, the IB official, was recovered, and it was proven that he was murdered brutally. Now, the court has also observed that it is nauseating and sickening how the crime was carried out by the accused. My colleague Saurav is also joining. Me. Saurav, do tell us about now that Tahir Hussain has been convicted and given life sentence. Remind our viewers about what happened back in 2020 in the Delhi riots case.
Well, sure. In year 2020, when these riots took place in the national capital, Ankit Sharma, who was an IB officer at that time, when he came back from his work, he went out again to get some things for some household things. But after that, he has gone out. He was caught by a mob who was very violent and who had anger against the Hindus living in the area. And following that, the mob basically killed him. There were a total of 51 cuts on his body, and out of that 18 were very severe cuts, which was done only by a sharp object. And in this mob, Tahir Hussain was also present, and he was the one who has instigated this mob to conduct such kind of a crime. And I also want to tell our viewers that on that day, on the next day, when his body was found from a drain, there was not even a single cloth on his body except only underwear. And this is a brutal crime, and the prosecution has also mentioned in the court that the accused should be given death sentence, and it was a cold-blooded murder of an IB officer. But today, the Karkarduma court has pronounced its verdict and the punishment for Tahir Hussain, and they have given him the life imprisonment in this whole case. And now, apart from Tahir Hussain, there were 4 other convicts in this case, and all the 5 people have been sentenced life imprisonment by the Karkarduma court today. Back to you.
Absolutely, Saurav. That's why the court has treated this case as rarest of the rare. 51 cuts on the body of Ankit Sharma have been taken note of. That brutality that Ankit Sharma had to witness in 2020. Now the justice has been delivered, some relief to the family of Ankit Sharma. Do tell us more about the role of Tahir Hussain. How did it surface?
yes, Tahir Hussain was at that time the Aam Aadmi Party's MLA from that area, and he is the one who instigated the whole mob of that area. And he, on the terrace of Tahir Hussain, the people were throwing petrol bombs, and there were several sharp objects and weapons were found on the terrace of Tahir Hussain on that very day. And when Ankit Sharma came out of his house, the mob caught him and the mob killed him. And they after then they after took the body of Ankit Sharma to the nearby masjid, and from there they have thrown the body of Ankit Sharma into a drain. And a day later his body was found when the family of Ankit Sharma got to know from the neighbors that his son was killed by this violent mob, and his son's body was thrown into a drain. And after they got to know this, they straight went to the police station, and after that only they recovered the body, and there were 51 cuts on the body of Ankit Sharma. I want to tell our viewers that Tahir Hussain was the main co-conspirator of this whole case. And
Arnab, do stay with us. We also have Harsh, we also have Shambhavi with us. Shambhavi, tell us about the role of Tahir Hussain in the 2020 Delhi riots.
Well, again, for the ease of our viewers, this relates to the 2020 Delhi Northeast riot, which was going on, in which 53 people were killed and several were injured. And in that case, a very important officer, the IB officer Ankit Sharma, went missing. And later, when he was found from the Chandbagh area, as my colleague was telling, that his body was found from a drain of the Chandbagh area, there were multiple injuries found on his body, which made it one of the gruesome cases. Now, when the Delhi police was arguing the case and was putting the case forward, they were rooting for death penalty, and they said that this would be considered as a rarest of rare case, given the severity of the injuries of Ankit Sharma and other deaths. And this is definitely one of the longest running cases, of the most watched trials, which is stemming from the 2020 Delhi riots case. And when we saw the arguments, when the arguments were being heard earlier, the court reserved its order, but now this comes as the first conviction in this entire matter, in this case where Tahir Hussain played a very crucial role in instigating the mob and also played a role in the death of the IB Ankit Sharma's death.
Right, Sarthak, if you can detail to us what the court said and what are the other legal remedies that Tahir Hussain can be seen looking into.
Well, the court held that Tahir Hussain was the prime accused in this particular case. The court held that he was actually the principal accused. This was something that was constantly pressed by Delhi police in the FIR and the charge sheet as well, that he was the principal accused and he played a leading role in the commission of the entire offence. The court observed, this is the specific line that has been mentioned by the court in their order, that illiterate or less educated convicts can be incited or influenced by principal accused to commit crimes. And who is the principal accused in this case? Tahir Hussain is the principal accused in this case. This indicates that those who instigate and direct others to bear greater culpability has to be held accountable, and Tahir Hussain was the principal accused in this case. The court found that the offence was grave and heinous, and this involved the murder of an IB officer, Ankit Sharma, during the 2020 Northeast Delhi riots. Several sections were pressed by Delhi police in the charge sheet, section 302, section 365, section 148, section 147, 153A, and all of these sections were read with section 149 of IPC. Tahir Hussain has been convicted under all these sections. Court has observed that he was the prime accused. He was the one who instigated the mob to attack Ankit.
Right.
And he was the primary accused.
Absolutely. Rarest of the rare cases is what the court observed, and it is nauseating. Absolutely. 51 cuts that were there on the body of Ankit Sharma have now got the convicts behind bars. Harsh, the political slugfest has already begun. We saw how the BJP has started claiming that Arvind Kejriwal is the main kingpin and Tahir Hussain is just a little fish in the pond.
Very rightly pointed out by you, Aditi. In fact,
पनिशमेंट होते हैं, डेथ और लाइफ टाइम। डेथ होती है जब वहाँ पे ऑफेंस रेयरेस्ट ऑफ रेयर हो, तो कोर्ट ने रेयरेस्ट ऑफ रेयर ऑफेंस तो माना है, लेकिन ये नहीं कहा कि इन एक्यूज के ऊपर कोई ओवर एक्ट प्रोसिक्यूशन प्रूव कर पाया है, और यहाँ पे कोई पॉसिबिलिटी रिफॉर्म की नहीं है। इन सब चीज़ों को कंसिडर करते हुए कोर्ट ने लाइफ टाइम पनिशमेंट दिया है।
ये भी कहा कि वो हाई कोर्ट में अपील करेंगे, इसके खिलाफ जाएंगे।
देखो, सबका राइट है, जो भी कन्विक्ट है उसका राइट है अपील फाइल करने का। मैं ताहिर हुसैन साहब के बिहाफ पे तो नहीं कह सकता, मैं उनको रिप्रेजेंट नहीं कर रहा था।
इस मामले में हमारे साथ आरोप,
मैं जो मेरे एक्यूज हैं उनके लिए डेफिनेटली हम अपील फाइल करेंगे, विद इन ए वीक फाइल करेंगे।
लगता है कि वो इस फैसले के खिलाफ हाई कोर्ट जा सकते हैं, और हमारे साथ आज का जो फैसला रहा, ये भाई ये
Legal voices, Tahir Hussain can be mulling now the High Court route. That's what the next move is. After the Delhi Karkarduma Court has awarded life imprisonment to former Aam Aadmi Party MLA Tahir Hussain. My colleague Harsh was making a point on the political slugfest that has started over the conviction. Yes, Harsh.
Right, Aditi, very rightly pointed out by you that it is very important for our viewers to understand that back in 2020 February, when this entire riots took place in Northeast Delhi, it was in February 2020 when this happened. The Aam Aadmi Party was in power, and this guy Tahir Hussain was the serving councillor from Aam Aadmi Party at that point. Now it is a very crucial day because 26-year-old IB officer Ankit Sharma has been brought to justice nearly 6.5 years after when this tragic incident took place in Northeast Delhi. 51 stabbing marks were found on his body, and it was Aam Aadmi Party's government in the national capital back then, and Tahir Hussain was the serving councillor from the ruling party in the national capital. Now what we are seeing is
बहुत शर्म की बात है कि फैमिली को इस बात का सुकून नहीं मिलेगा कि उनके बच्चे को पे चाकू किसने चलाया, मॉब में उसको किसने शक किया, लेकिन 5 लोगों को सजा मिली है इस बुनियाद पे दैट दे वर प्रेजेंट अराउंड देयर एंड दैट देयर प्रेजेंस हैज बीन प्रूवन बाय द प्रोसिक्यूशन। हमारा मानना है उनकी प्रेजेंस नहीं प्रूव हुई है, और इसी बुनियाद पे हम अपील फाइल करेंगे, जिसकी माननीय हाई कोर्ट में सुनवाई जल्द ही जल्द होगी।
आप लोग क्या इस फैसले को चैलेंज करेंगे?
बिल्कुल चैलेंज करेंगे, हमारे क्लाइंट बेकसूर हैं।
कोर्ट ने ये भी माना कि ये रेयर ऑफ द रेयरेस्ट केस नहीं था। क्या कैसे देखती हैं आप? जब मौत की सजा की मांग की गई थी तो यही कहा गया था, सिफारिश करते एक तरफ।
माननीय अदालत ने ये जरूर माना है कि ये हेनस क्राइम था, एक यंग पर्सन की डेथ हुई है, लेकिन उन्होंने ये भी कहा है कि स्टेट ने अपना बर्डन डिस्चार्ज नहीं किया। ये नहीं बताया कि सारे कॉन्विक्ट्स बियॉन्ड रेफर्मेशन है, सारे के सारे कॉन्विक्ट्स किसी भी वायलेंट क्राइम में ना पहले ना बाद में इन्वॉल्व थे। ये एक बहुत ज़रूरी बात है जो कोर्ट के सामने रखी गई है। उनका कॉन्डक्ट भी ठीक रहा है जेल में, जो लोग बेल पे थे। तो ये बात को और इस बात को मानते नज़र में रखते हुए कि वाइकेरियस लायबिलिटी का केस है, कोई डायरेक्ट एक्ट की एलिगेशन है ही नहीं और कोई डायरेक्ट एक्ट प्रूव भी नहीं हुआ, इस वजह से कोर्ट ने इसको सजाए मौत का केस नहीं मान के उम्र कैद दी है।
कितना पेनाल्टी लगाई है करीब?
जी सबका तो मैंने ठीक से ध्यान नहीं किया, लेकिन ताहिर हुसैन पे फॉर द ऑफेंस ऑफ 302 रेड विद 149 5 लाख का कॉम्पनसेशन अमाउंट लगाया।
You heard the reaction coming in from Tahir Hussein's legal team. Remember, this is what we were discussing and mulling, that now the High Court route will be taken by Tahir Hussain. And now it is clear that Tahir Hussein's team will be moving towards High Court after the local court has awarded life sentence to Tahir Hussain in the murder case of IB official Ankit Sharma. My colleagues are still live with me, Saurabh, Harsh, Shambhavi and Sarthak. Sarthak, coming to you, we were discussing how High Court route can be taken, and now it is amply clear that Tahir Hussein's team will be now moving towards High Court.
Well, absolutely right, Aditi. This is the only remedy left with Tahir Hussain at this point. He has been convicted by Karkarduma Court as a principal accused in this case. He was the reason why Ankit Sharma died. He was the reason who instigated the mob to commit such a crime. And now appealing before the High Court against the order that has been passed by Karkarduma Court, where he has been held as a principal accused, can be challenged in the High Court. And that's the only remedy left with Tahir Hussain and his legal team at this point, it's very unlikely that High Court will be going against the order that has been passed by Karkatuma Court at this point, because several sections have been pressed by the police in the charge sheet, and which has been taken into consideration by the Karkatuma Court as well. This becomes very significant because this is one of the most prominent convictions that have arising out of the 2020 Northeast Delhi riots, in which 53 people lost their lives, Ankit Sharma, the IB officer, being one of them. The court has held that Tahir Hussain was the principal accused. The legal team can only appeal before the Delhi High Court against this order. Whether Delhi High Court will be passing an adverse order or going against the order that has been passed by the Karkatuma Court, this is only time will tell. But at this point, Tahir Hussain's predicament has become worse, as he has been held as a principal accused by the Karkatuma Court in this particular case.
Right, absolutely. Shambhavi, to take us through the more options that Tahir Hussein's team can take, and how the politics is playing out around it.
See, it's talking about the statutory appeal. If we talk about the first option that my league was telling you was to approach the High Court. Now, the High Court can do several things in this matter. It can either acquit him or it can uphold the sentence. Acquitting him is very unlikely, but they can also uphold the sentence, reduce the sentence, or order a retrial. What Tahir can also do is they can also seek suspension of the sentence and can also seek bail pending appeal, which is they can ask the High Court that you suspend my sentence, which is pending my appeal. But the bail, the point of bail, if they appeal for in front of the High Court, that is going to depend on a lot of things, which is the nature of the offence, how many people lost their lives, and the nature of the offence, I think, has already been decided by the Karkatuma Court, calling it the rarest of rare case. Although, as we heard the legal team of Tahir Hussain saying that it is a case of vicarious liability and there is no direct impact, Tahir Hussain is still one of the prime suspects of this entire matter, and this long-running trial for more than 6 years, this decision, after more than 6 years, after a rigorous trial, this decision has come. Apart from this, if the High Court, of course, orders a retrial, then a retrial occurs. If the High Court also opposes the sentence, the next statutory appeal that the Tahir Hussain has is to appeal before the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court, if Supreme Court also opposes the sentence, then he has as an option of review petition. But these are very limited. These are already very statutory path that Tahir can take. He's not left with a lot of options, given that such strong statement, considering a case as one of the rarest of rare case, is something very huge considered in the legal fraternity. And if a court has sentenced a person for life imprisonment, considering it a rarest of rare case, it is going to be a tough battle for Tahir in High Court.
Absolutely. Well, legal remedies is one can hope for, but it is the rarest of the rare cases. And in regards to that, more breaking news coming in. What the court said inside while hearing was underway in the Delhi 2020 Delhi riots case, the court observed that it is the barbarity in which Ankit Sharma was murdered. It is nauseating. The barbarity of crime is nauseating, is sickening what these accused have done. Hence, the life sentence was awarded to former Aam Aadmi Party MLA, councillor Tahir Hussain and other accused involved in the crime. Remember, the court observed that it is sickening what has been done. 51 cuts were there on the body of Ankit Sharma, who was found in a drain. His body was found in a drain, after which the court has now finally given its verdict while the death penalty was sought. But this remains the big focus. Saurabh, the court has observed that it is, rarest of the rare, the barbarity of it. Talk us more about it. Saurabh, while we are talking about the barbarity in which Ankit Sharma was brutally murdered, his body mutilated, was recovered from the drain back in 2020. Tell us more about what happened afterwards.
Yes, Aditi. At the time when the body of the IB officer Ankit Sharma was found from the drain a day after this incident took place, there was no cloth on his body except his underwear, and there were a total of 51 deep wounds on his body, and out of the 51 deep wounds, 18 wounds were from the very sharp object, as they were life-threatening, and due to that only IB officer Ankit Sharma lost his life. And after this case got into the court, the prosecution also said that it was a cold-blooded murder, and they were also seeking a death sentence for Tahir Hussain and the other 4 convicts in this case. And today, Karkaduma court has given a very landmark decision, and they have sentenced Tahir Hussain and the other 4 accused in this case to life imprisonment. And this was a very brutal crime which they undertook on 25th February 2020 during the Northeast Riots case. And I want to tell our viewers that Tahir Hussain was the prime accused. He was the one who instigated the mob against the Hindus living in the area. And apart from this, there were petrol bombs and other weapons which were found on the terrace of Tahir
Saurabh,
Hussain.
do stay with us. For now, thank you so much, Sarthak, Saurabh, Harsh and Shambhavi. We will be coming right after this very break on this story, the High Court twist to Tahir Hussain's conviction. We'll tell you more details of what happened inside the court. Don't go anywhere.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट
क्या बात है स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट
अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं then I will have to say Modi ji clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
आपको समझ ना आए तो आप घर जाके गूगल पे आप सर्च कर लेना है क्या नारा है। वो नारा देते थे वास्ते गुने हुइयां और वो नारा देते थे इतने प्यार से इतनी खूबसूरत तरीके से इस्तीफा मांगते थे कहते थे जब आपसे इस्तीफा भी मांगते थे तो कहते थे कुचू पुचू इस्तीफा दे दो आज हमारा जन्मदिन है।
विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन करते हैं।
So these are the 3 categories: student, idiot, and andhbhakt who follows the idiot. Now,
प्रश्न है कि खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बने जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा से MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग असली स्वाद असली मजा।
MTH
I wake up wearing someone else again, skin tight like porcelain. I don't recognize these eyes, something scratching from inside. Don't let it slip, I'm losing control. I don't wanna be safe anymore. Underneath there's a fire they can't keep. No more faces.
Finding myself, that's my moment of Sarah.
थोड़े में
खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा।
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but you know, we got to smack them a little bit.
The United States has launched airstrikes on Iran hours after President Donald Trump warned Tehran of a strong military response. The strikes mark the first major American attack since Trump paused the bombing campaign last week. Trump had earlier vowed to hit Iran very hard after an Iranian missile attack on an American base in Jordan. Within hours, US forces launched retaliatory strikes, escalating tensions across the Middle East.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but you know, we got to smack them a little bit. Yeah, I think more so that, yeah, because it was another smaller event. But no, they sent 8,000-mile-an-hour missiles at us, and fortunately we had our people operating the greatest equipment in the world, namely the Patriot system. Think of it, 5 missiles going 8,600 miles an hour, big ones, coming right at us, and all 5 were shot down. How about that, right? Pretty good. Only we, nobody else could do that but us, yeah.
US forces began launching strikes against Iran at 8 p.m. ET today. The strikes are a powerful response to yesterday's attempted Iranian attacks on US forces based in the Middle East.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार, विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
जरा सोच के देखिए, आपके पास कुछ ऐसा है जो आपकी दुनिया बदल सकता है। जानते हैं क्या? आपका अपना सोना। सोना क्या नहीं कर सकता? सोना आपको अपने सपनों का घर दिला सकता है, आपके बच्चों का भविष्य बना सकता है। सोना आपकी हर इच्छा पूरी कर सकता है। तो भारत की सबसे बड़ी गोल्ड लोन NBFC मुथूट फाइनेंस से गोल्ड लोन लीजिए और फिर देखिए सोना क्या नहीं कर सकता। मुथूट फाइनेंस, जहां विश्वास ही परंपरा है। कॉल कीजिए 1-800-313-1212।
प्यास बुझाए, ठंडक लाए, सबको भाए जीरा से। MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH।
अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say Modi ji clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
आपको समझ ना आए तो आप घर जाके गूगल पे आप सर्च कर लेना ये क्या नारा है। वो नारा देते थे वास्ते गुने हुइयां, और वो नारा देते थे इतने प्यार से, इतनी खूबसूरत तरीके से इस्तीफा मांगते थे। कहते थे जब आपसे इस्तीफा भी मांगते थे तो कहते थे कुचू पुचू इस्तीफा दे दो, आज हमारा जन्मदिन है।
विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए, तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया, तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते, तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन करते हैं।
So these are the three categories: student, idiot, and andhbhakt who follows the idiot. Now,
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
यानी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized. But, you know, we got to smack them a little bit.
The United States has launched airstrikes on Iran hours after President Donald Trump warned Tehran of a strong military response. The strikes mark the first major American attack since Trump paused the bombing campaign last week. Trump had earlier vowed to hit Iran very hard after an Iranian missile attack on an American base in Jordan. Within hours, US forces launched retaliatory strikes, escalating tensions across the Middle East.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized. But, you know, we got to smack them a little bit. Yeah, I think more so that, yeah, because it was another smaller event. But no, they sent 8,000-mile-an-hour missiles at us. And fortunately, we had our people operating the greatest equipment in the world, namely the Patriot system. Think of it, 5 missiles going 8,600 miles an hour, big ones, coming right at us, and all 5 were shot down. How about that, right? Pretty good. Only
from Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hi there, welcome to 5 p.m. live and breaking this Friday. Tahir Hussain, the former Delhi councillor and Aam Aadmi Party leader, has been convicted with life imprisonment slapped on him for the dastardly murder of IB official Ankit Sharma. Apart from him, there are 5 others given various punishments. That's going to be our focus, with reporters joining us live from Karkarduma Court and other places. Let's begin with the headlines.
Headlines brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Life imprisonment to former AAP leader Tahir Hussain in Delhi riots case. Tahir accused of leading the violent mob that killed Ankit Sharma. Delhi court observes the barbarity of the crime, calls it nauseating and sickening. Life imprisonment to Tahir after police sought death penalty. State set for FCRA debate in Parliament, bill to be tabled next week in Lok Sabha. Families of injured cops in CJP protests speak up. Family members demand justice. All right, we are coming straight to the breaking, which is that Tahir Hussain has been sentenced to life in prison after he was convicted in the murder of Ankit Sharma, the former IB official, or the then IB official, in connection with the Delhi riots case of 2020. Tahir Hussain is one of the many others convicted. In fact, we have Mr. Manjinder Sirsa joining us over the phone for more on this. Mr. Sirsa, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. My first question, Tahir convicted with life imprisonment, but is that enough?
No, definitely it is not enough. First of all, he was not just a mastermind, but he was the mastermind for Aam Aadmi Party. The Aam Aadmi Party did this organized crime by using their Aam Aadmi Party Nigam councillor at that point of time. And this whole purpose was to gain a popularity among the one section of society, and for there they killed an innocent police officer. I believe that the conviction must have been more than that. But more than that, it's more important is that at last that the conviction has been done. But in other cases, if you remember, the similar incidents happened in Delhi way before. That was in 1984, and the same modus operandi was adopted by the Congress at that point of time. The ruling party did this, but nobody was convicted, neither anybody was arrested. But at least in this case, the government has shown the seriousness in spite of all best efforts by the Aam Aadmi Party to save their councillor. He has been convicted, and today the entire country can see the face of Aam Aadmi Party in Tahir Hussain, how a government organized riots were happening in Delhi, and that too with the help of Aam Aadmi Party, and though who at till end of the time they have tried to defend him by saying कि अगर इसका नाम कपिल होता तो ताहिर हुसैन को कभी पकड़ा ना जाता, इस पे कार्रवाई ना होती. So see what was the mindset at that point of time. At least today people of Delhi can.
Mr. Sirsa, I want to come to that. In fact, that's exactly the charge Tahir Hussain is making against prosecution in his first reaction. He's saying this was fixed match, and so if he goes and appeals before the High Court, maybe he will get reprieve.
चलिए वो तो जब होगा, that also seen today. आप ये तो मान सकते हैं, in spite of all this, that Aam Aadmi Party tried to save him till the last. If you remember one instance, when Aam Aadmi Party was attacking then Lieutenant Governor by saying कि ये जो सरकारी वकील हैं, prosecutors हैं, we have got a right to appoint them because they want to appoint for Tariq, this person, so he can be saved. और in spite of all this उसको बचा तो सके नहीं है, लेकिन आम आदमी पार्टी ने अंत तक उसको बचाने की कोशिश की. आज ताहिर हुसैन भी वही बातें करेगा जो आम आदमी पार्टी उसको बोलने को कहेगी, वो तो उन्हीं का आदमी है.
जैसे उनका हक है अपील में जाने का, तो दिल्ली पुलिस या प्रोसिक्यूशन का भी हक है. उन्होंने बोला था कि डेथ पेनल्टी होना चाहिए, तो मे बी इवन दे कैन गो इन अपील.
देखिए ऐसे केसेस में जहां पे इस तरह से नंगा नाच किया गया, ऑर्गेनाइज क्राइम किया होगा, डेफिनेटली हमने भी 1984 की बड़ी लंबी लड़ाई लड़ने के बाद, SIT बनाने के बाद जब पकड़कर लोगों को लाए, तो दैट वाज आवर डिमांड कि दे शुड बी डेथ सेंटेंस, एंड आई एम थैंकफुल टू द कोर्ट ने इस कन्विक्शन को डेथ सेंटेंस माना. मुझे लगता है कि ये तो एक इतनी स्ट्रॉन्ग जो मैसेज आना चाहिए सोसाइटी के अंदर, दैट नोबडी डेयर्स टू डू दिस काइंड ऑफ एक्ट इन फ्यूचर.
This is the last question before I let you go. ये एक नज़ीर पेश करता है. This sets an example in other Delhi riots cases that the prosecution will make sure that convictions happen wherever a crime has been committed, and that irrespective of which side the accused are, they would be taken to its logical. The prosecution will take the case to its logical conclusion.
I don't believe that it sets such an example. It can only set an example that if the BJP's government is there, फिर तो इंसाफ हो सकता है, justice can be, but this can't set example for reason being, had it been in the rule of Aam Aadmi Party, he would have been saved. Had it in the rule of Congress, he would have been saved. And all those accused who are accused of killing thousands of innocent Sikhs on the roads of Delhi, were definitely saved. So I cannot say that it will set a big example. It all depends which government is working at. If the government, NDA government is there, definitely you can get a justice. But you have seen in last 30 years, 35 years, in spite of naming the people, in spite of evidence against Sajjan Kumar Titler, Jagdish Titler, H.K. Bhagat, and other so many accused, The Congress never put them behind the jail. It was NDA which came into power and put them behind the jails. So yes, the example is there, but it all depends what kind of government is there. It also matters.
Much, Mr. Sirsa, for joining us with that perspective. BJP Minister Manjinder Singh Sirsa in Delhi. In fact, as we mentioned during that chat, Tahir Hussein's first reaction has come in, and he seems to be in the impression that he will get some reprieve from a higher court and hence would file an appeal. Obviously, part of the legal process. And Tahir, presenting a picture of defiance there, says will secure justice from High Court. Manjinder Sirsa there, of course, said that it is for him to believe, but prosecution has made an airtight case. So let's listen to what exactly Tahir Hussain said while being taken into custody there, while in custody at the Karkaduma court.
ताहिर कुछ कहेंगे? ताहिर
हाई कोर्ट से इंसाफ मिलेगा। हाई कोर्ट है, क्लियर है, अंधेरा नहीं है। आपको लगता है इंसाफ का कोर्ट कहा कि ये रेयर ऑफ द रेयरेस्ट लोग हाई कोर्ट से इंसाफ मिलेगा। हाई कोर्ट है, क्लियर है, अंधेरा नहीं है। आपको लगता है इंसाफ का कोर्ट कहा कि ये रेयर ऑफ द रेयरेस्ट लोग
ताहिर कुछ कहेंगे? ताहिर
हाई कोर्ट से इंसाफ मिलेगा। हाई कोर्ट है, क्लियर है, अंधेरा नहीं है। आपको लगता है इंसाफ का कोर्ट कहा कि ये रेयर ऑफ द रेयरेस्ट लोग
All right, I believe we have our reporters joining us live now. We have Shambhavi, we have Sarthak, and we have Harsh. If I could come to you first, Shambhavi, and from where you are reporting, what update can you share, the kind of reactions coming in from the prosecution? Because Tahir Hussain says that he would file an appeal and that he might get a reprieve from the Delhi High Court.
Well, we also heard from the legal team of Tahir Hussain, and they seem very hopeful that they're going to get some reprieve or some kind of success from the High Court, given that the circumstances that they presented to the court was not considered properly. But for a normal court to consider a case as rare as a rare case is a huge deal. And the court also said that the circumstances of the case were nauseating. So for them to go and appeal again, there's a statutory appeal for them to appeal before the High Court. The High Court can do several things. It can either acquit him completely, or he can uphold the sentence or make some modifications in it. And if the High Court also upholds, then the last remedy that Tahir Hussain has is going to the Supreme Court, where if the Supreme Court also upholds it in some circumstances, given the circumstances of the case, they can file a review petition. So they have very limited remedy in this matter. What Tahir Hussein's legal team has also hinted towards in what we heard is they could be asking for seeking a suspension of both the conviction and the sentence, and seek also bail pending appeal. So
right.
While they're appealing,
bail pending appeal is going to be their first strategy. But coming to you, Sarthak, our legal correspondent. Sarthak, given the kind of observations made by the trial court, calling it the most heinous crime, stopping one step short of calling it rarest of the rare, but still serious enough to warrant life imprisonment, you think there is any escape window left for the accused?
Well, Abhishek, some serious charges have been pressed by the police in the charge sheet, and the court has taken into consideration and convicted Tahir Hussain under those charges. There are charges of murder committed by members of an unlawful assembly, kidnapping, charges of kidnapping and abducting with the intent to wrongfully confine a person, charges of riots with armed with a deadly weapon, and promoting enmity between different groups. So some serious charges have been pressed by the police, and the court has convicted Tahir Hussain under those charges and said that he happens to be the prime accused in the entire case. The 53 people died on that particular day, and Tahir Hussain is the prime accused, is the primary reason why such an incident happened. So at this point, they may appeal in the Delhi High Court. They have several remedies. They may have remedies under Section 415 of BNSS, where they may appeal against the conviction and the sentence, as Shambhavi rightly mentioned. They may also file an application for suspension of sentence. If that they do not get enough remedy from the High Court, then may appeal to the Supreme Court. If they do not get any relief from the Supreme Court after filing an SLP under Section 136 of the Constitution, they may go for a review petition under Article 137. So they may have a few remedies left with them, but they seem to be very slim at this point, because very serious charges have been pressed by the Karkarduma court, and Tahir Hussain has been convicted under those charges, and it has been called a rarest of rare offence. If not, may not be mentioned explicitly by the court, but it is slightly short of being a rarest of rare offence, and it is very unlikely that High Court may go against the order passed by the Karkarduma court at this point, Abhishek.
Right. Let me take this to Harsh now. He's also live with us on this story. Harsh, the option of appeal is there with the Delhi police also. They can always press with the High Court that they believe that this is the most heinous crime, rarest of rare, and in fact, Tahir Hussain's appeal should not be accepted, and that they would rather want that trial court missed on giving a death penalty and press for it.
Very rightly pointed out by you, Abhishek. In fact, this is a very barbaric act, because a 26-year-old IB officer was murdered in a brutal crime that took place in February 2020. And nearly 6.5 years later, what we are seeing is that finally justice is being served to the 26-year-old IB officer Ankit Sharma and his family members. Not just Tahir Hussain, but 4 others, including Javed, Anas, Naseem and Qasim, has been served with life imprisonment. Now, what we are seeing right now is the opposition, in fact, has been called out. We have seen BJP very sharply reacting to this. We have heard Manjinder Singh Sirsa, because in 2020, it was the government of Aam Aadmi Party and Tahir Hussain, in fact, the main culprit behind the barbaric act that claimed the life of 26-year-old Ankit Sharma. Tahir Hussain was the serving councillor from Aam Aadmi Party. However, he was later sacked. But at the very moment when he committed this crime, he was a serving councillor from the ruling government of that time, that was Aam Aadmi Party. And that is exactly why we are also seeing the Bharatiya Janata Party reacting to it very sharply. And also the Delhi police in this regard pressed that Tahir Hussain should be served with death penalty. However, the court has pointed out that it is a rarest of the rare case. But now what we are seeing is the court has only served him with life imprisonment. But this is something that is somehow serving justice to the 26-year-old IB officer and his family nearly 6.5 years later, because this was a barbaric act when he was stabbed 51 times, and in fact his body was later recovered from a drain. Now what we are seeing is the BJP reacting to it sharply, because it was in all possibility that Tahir Hussain, who was the serving councillor from Aam Aadmi Party, he in fact has been convicted for his deeds, Abhishek.
Well, you see, politics is one aspect, but ultimately it's about justice for the victims. And Ankit Sharma in many ways exemplified the victims of Delhi riots of 2020. We have a reaction coming in from Tahir's lawyer, Tara Narula. Let's listen to her.
डायरेक्ट एविडेंस का ये केस है ही नहीं. ये केस का डिसीजन इज बेस्ड ऑन द फैक्ट ऑफ देयर बीइंग एन अनलॉफुल असेंबली. वाइकेरियस लायबिलिटी का केस है. आज तक हमको नहीं मालूम कि अंकित शर्मा को किसने मारा, और यही एक बहुत शर्म की बात है कि फैमिली को इस बात का सुकून नहीं मिलेगा कि उनके बच्चे को पे चाकू किसने चलाया, मॉब में उसको किसने शक किया. लेकिन 5 लोगों को सजा मिली है इस बुनियाद पे दैट दे वर प्रेजेंट अराउंड देयर and that their presence has been proven by the prosecution. हमारा मानना है उनकी प्रेजेंस नहीं प्रूव हुई है, और इसी बुनियाद पे हम अपील फाइल करेंगे, जिसकी माननीय हाई कोर्ट में सुनवाई जल्द ही जल्द होगी.
आप लोग क्या इस फैसले को चैलेंज करेंगे?
बिल्कुल चैलेंज करेंगे. हमारे क्लाइंट बेकसूर हैं. माननीय अदालत ने ये ज़रूर माना है कि ये हेनस क्राइम था, एक यंग पर्सन की डेथ हुई है, लेकिन उन्होंने ये भी कहा है कि स्टेट ने अपना बर्डन डिस्चार्ज नहीं किया। ये नहीं बताया कि सारे कॉन्विक्ट्स बियॉन्ड रेफर्मेशन हैं। सारे के सारे कॉन्विक्ट्स किसी भी वायलेंट क्राइम में ना पहले ना बाद में इन्वॉल्व थे। ये एक बहुत ज़रूरी बात है जो कोर्ट के सामने रखी गई है। उनका कॉन्डक्ट भी ठीक रहा है जेल में, जो लोग बेल पे थे। तो ये बात को और इस बात को मानते नज़र में रखते हुए कि वाइकेरियस लायबिलिटी का केस है, कोई डायरेक्ट एक्ट की एलिगेशन है ही नहीं और कोई डायरेक्ट एक्ट प्रूव भी नहीं हुआ, इस वजह से कोर्ट ने इसको सजाए मौत का केस नहीं मान के उम्र कैद दी है।
कितना पेनाल्टी लगाई है करीब करीब?
जी सबका तो मैंने ठीक से ध्यान नहीं किया, लेकिन ताहिर हुसैन पे फॉर द ऑफेंस ऑफ 302 रेड विद 149 5 लाख का कॉम्पनसेशन अमाउंट लगाया है।
कोर्ट का जो कंसिडरेशन था ये था कि देयर इज द पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ रिफॉर्म। तो कोर्ट ने कहा ऐसा भी कोई एविडेंस नहीं आया जो ये शो करता है कि यहाँ पे रिफॉर्म की पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं है इन एक्यूज की, तो इसलिए कोर्ट ने।
लेकिन मैं था कोर्ट रूम के अंदर, जज साहब ने ये भी कहा कि जिस तरीके से जानवरों की तरह शव को घसीटा गया, नाले में डाला गया और कहीं ना कहीं इसीलिए ये एक ऐसा अपराध था जिससे समाज को झकझोरने वाली घटना हुई और इसीलिए यहाँ पर एक ऐसा पनिशमेंट देना जरूरी है जिससे संदेश भी यहाँ पर जाए।
देखो, जो कोर्ट ने कहा है कि एक एनिमल एक्ट था या ब्रूटिलिटी की बात की है, उसके साथ साथ कोर्ट ने एक वर्ड और भी कहा है कि जो लोग कन्विक्ट हुए हैं उनके खिलाफ प्रोसिक्यूशन कोई भी ओवर एक्ट प्रूव नहीं कर पाया कि डायरेक्टली उन्होंने स्टेबिंग की है या उन्होंने घसीटा है, इस तरह का कोई भी चीज प्रोसिक्यूशन प्रूव नहीं कर पाया। वो
आप लोग इसको चैलेंज करेंगे?
बिल्कुल, डेफिनेटली अपील फाइल करेंगे इसकी।
All right, both the lawyers of the accused are actually maintaining that nobody killed Ankit Sharma, and that's something which is awful and sounds so bad that the legal side of Tahir maintains that he is not accused and that we don't know who killed Tahir Sharma. Aparajita Sarangi, BJP MP, senior leader of the party, joins us over the phone. Very thank you, Ms. Sarangi, for joining us. And you heard that lawyer of Tahir Hussain, former Aam Aadmi Party leader, say that nobody killed Ankit Sharma. They are denying the role of Tahir Hussain in the case and murder, and they are saying that this is a fixed match and that they will get reprieve in the High Court.
The law always takes its course, and I think this is a very strong message to the society. Nobody in this land is above law, and I think all of us, everywhere, we should have full faith in the system of judiciary. It does deliver justice on the basis of evidence, on the basis of whatever facts come to them. So I think we need to have tremendous faith in the way judiciary functions. And I think this particular judgment is upheld by all, is appreciated by all. And I can only say that the law has taken its course.
All right, thank you so much. This is Ms. Aparajita Sarangi, senior leader of the party, BJP, and a member of parliament, giving her views on this Karkaduma court verdict in Delhi on Aam Aadmi Party leader Tahir Hussain, convicted with life imprisonment in Ankit Sharma murder case. Moving on, and we have an important development in connection with POJK, Pak-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. And it seems that against, of course, the grain, the issue of POJK now gets internationalized with 50 UK MPs, or the MPs from the United Kingdom, writing to their foreign secretary over violence, deteriorating situation in Pakistan-occupied J&K, Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. And we have seen how over 100 are now killed. Official reports is sketchy, but whatever information we can glean from a sporadic trickle that comes in amid the internet ban, with the JAAC, the coordinating agency, maintaining that Pakistani forces are shooting directly at protesters, including women and children. There is already an MEA reaction to this and asking Pakistan to look within. All right, this is all we could pack for you in this 5 p.m. edition of Live and Breaking. Short break. Coming up on the other side, FCRA bill to be tabled in Parliament next week. Union Home Minister Amit Shah to pilot the bill.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार, विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा,
राजा आग और मसाला।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say Modi ji clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
आपको समझ ना आए तो आप घर जाके गूगल पे आप सर्च कर लेना, ये क्या नारा है। वो नारा देते थे वास्ते गुने हुइयां, और वो नारा देते थे इतने प्यार से, इतनी खूबसूरत तरीके से इस्तीफा मांगते थे। कहते थे जब आपसे इस्तीफा भी मांगते थे तो कहते थे कुचू पुचू इस्तीफा दे दो, आज हमारा जन्मदिन है।
विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए, तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया, तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते, तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन करते हैं।
So these are the three categories: student, idiot, and andbhakt who follows the idiot. Now,
प्रश्न है कि खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ। खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बना। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 1 अधिनियम सूत्र और विधेयक का पूरा नाम विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ।
जिन लोगों ने विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ किया, वे जेलों में सड़ रहे हैं। हमने मास रिकॉर्ड बना।
अध्यक्ष जी, जहां पर कांग्रेस शासित यूपीए ने पॉलिसी वैक्यूम करा, वहीं पर अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं,
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट।
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है। स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
I wake up wearing someone else again, skin tight like porcelain. I don't recognize these eyes, something scratching from inside. Don't let it slip, I'm losing control. I don't wanna be safe anymore. Underneath there's a fire they can't keep. No more faces.
Finding myself, that's my moment of Sarah.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized. But, you know, we got to smack them a little bit.
The United States has launched airstrikes on Iran hours after President Donald Trump warned Tehran of a strong military response. The strikes mark the first major American attack since Trump paused the bombing campaign last week. Trump had earlier vowed to hit Iran very hard after an Iranian missile attack on an American base in Jordan. Within hours, US forces launched retaliatory strikes, escalating tensions across the Middle East.
We can hit him very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized. But, you know, we got to smack them a little bit. Yeah, I think more so that, yeah, because it was another smaller event. But no, they sent 8,000-mile-an-hour missiles at us. And fortunately, we had our people operating the greatest equipment in the world, namely the Patriot system. Think of it, 5 missiles going 8,600 miles an hour, big ones, coming right at us, and all 5 were shot down. How about that, right? Pretty good. Nobody else could do that but us, yeah.
US forces began launching strikes against Iran at 8 p.m. ET today. The strikes are a powerful response to yesterday's attempted Iranian attacks on US forces based in the Middle East. The escalation comes after Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed responsibility for a missile attack on a US airbase and command center in Jordan. The US military says all the missiles were intercepted. Even as airstrikes continue, CENTCOM says it is strictly enforcing the American blockade against Iran. As of July 29, US forces have redirected 20 commercial vessels, disabled 2 and boarded 2 others. With Washington and Tehran exchanging attacks once again, fears of a wider conflict in the Middle East are growing. The big question now is whether the confrontation will stop here or spiral into a larger war.
अगर मैं
A very good afternoon, viewers. You're watching Republic. I'm Chongtham Amrita, and in a big justice to Ankit Sharma and his family, the court has awarded a life sentence to Tahir Hussain, who was in charge of brutally murdering Ankit Sharma during the 2020 riots. In fact, Tahir Hussain and 4 others have now been sentenced to life imprisonment. This is the latest that we are tracking on Republic. But first, we'll get you the headlines.
Headlines brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Life imprisonment to former Aam Aadmi Party leader Tahir Hussain in Delhi riots case. Tahir accused of leading the violent mob that killed Ankit Sharma. Delhi court observes barbarity of the crime is nauseating and sickening. Life imprisonment to Tahir after police sought death penalty. Stage set for FCRA debate in Parliament. Bill to be tabled next week in Lok Sabha. This is coming 2 weeks after Republic exposed the FCRA files. Bill to be tabled now into Parliament. Families of injured cops in CJP protests speak up. Family members demand justice for the cops injured in the protest. 10 deaths in building collapse in Maharashtra's Bhiwandi. Rescue operations underway. Pakistan faces global backlash for massacre in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. 50 UK MPs write to UK Foreign Secretary over the violence. Viewers, big breaking news coming from our sources. Just 2 weeks after Republic expose on FCRA bill, now FCRA bill is set to be tabled in Lok Sabha next week. Union Home Minister Amit Shah is expected to lead the FCRA debate. In fact, Republic exposed the FCRA files, the conversion racket that was spread across 3 states. And now, viewers, the stage is set for the FCRA fireworks in the parliament that's coming up next week. In fact, viewers, this is coming 2 weeks after the big Republic expose on the FCRA bill, which showed how in 3 states the FCRA was used. In fact, there was a forced conversion that was taking place in several areas in 3 states, and now the bill will be tabled in the parliament next week. It is expected the Home Minister is set to lead this debate in the parliament. In fact, the FCRA bill is a new. There are new amendments to be made in the bill, which in fact completely and strictly excludes the proselytization, which in fact uses foreign funding for forced conversion. And in fact, many charity organizations and non-governmental organizations will be now have to be following the FCRA amendments and the norms, and they would be needed to register themselves and renew their license. And if they don't follow the new rules, will be deemed from their license, will be removed from the license as well. Right, I'm also joined by my colleague Sambhavi to give us more details on the FCRA bill. In fact, Sambhavi, this was a big expose that Republic did, the big investigation across 3 states, which in fact, Sambhavi, you were also a part of that exposed how in these 3 states the forced conversion was taking place and how foreign funding was also used to make these conversions, these religious conversions. And with this bill coming in the Lok Sabha next week, and there will be many such changes in the with these organizations who were using the loopholes in the bill to receive such money to make conversions in the country. Sambhavi, give us more details on how this FCRA bill, and after the bill will be passed, how will it look like for the nation?
Well, given that it was a particularly confrontational and stormy monsoon session which is going on right now, and Republic had an exclusive break of the conversion racket which is going on in several cities and Chhattisgarh especially, and we showed how there's a proselytization going on. So this new FCRA bill is going to be bringing a lot of fresh amendments, which is already facing a lot of disregard or opposition from several parties or several bodies. So one thing which standing out particularly is this: there will be a creation of a designated authority. So we can say that if an NGO loses its FCRA license, either it's surrendered or it's expired or it's cancelled, the assets that they have made using the foreign contributions, that will be managed and controlled by a designated authority, which will be laid in the amendment. Apart from this, government will control a lot of these assets. So these assets cannot be freely sold or cannot be freely transferred. Plus, proselytization can also not be listed as one of the religious activity while you are trying to acquire an FCRA license. So these are the few things which will be in the amendment bill.
Yes, in fact, Sambhavi, stay with us on this. We are also joined on the phone line by BJP leader Nalin Kohli to give us more information on how the bill is supposed to be presented in the Lok Sabha and how this bill aims to control the proselytization clause as well with the amendment as well. Thank you so much, Nalin Kohli, for joining us on this. I like your comments on the FCRA bill that is set to be tabled in the Lok Sabha next week.
We'll have to wait for the debate to take place because that is the prerogative of Parliament. However, the basic principle is all money that comes into the country is through the RBI, and obviously every country into which money comes, the source of the fund and the use of that funds is a critical factor. The Foreign Contribution Regulation Act is not a creation of the BJP government. This is an act that has existed for a long time, and it was brought in much before the BJP government or Prime Minister Modi came into government. So therefore, within that, over a period of time, as in any law, if there are loopholes that are seen in the law, if it is found that the purpose for which the law came is not being fully met, if it is found that there is a misuse taking place of the funds, how it is being used. For example, suppose the funds are coming in the name of doing management, water conservation, or about spreading education. But if the funds are getting diverted to, say, political activity, or conversions, or to something else which was not the intent, then certainly the government has, in the world, would have a right to have a point of view on it and bring in amendments in the act to make those changes. So that's it has to be seen from that perspective. Now, I don't believe any government, any party in parliament would like to see that funds coming from abroad are used for any incorrect reason, are used in non-compliance of the stated purpose, because after all, we are all bound by following the rule of law. So this is how one would expect that the budget would, the debate in Parliament would bring up various factors, and it's being led by no less than the Home Minister of the country, Mr. Amit Bhai Shah, and he would obviously inform Lok Sabha and through Lok Sabha the entire country what is the purpose, the objective, and why this bill is being brought and what's the importance of it.
Yes, in fact, sir, thank you so much for all of those updates. In fact, it remains to be seen how the debate goes about in the parliament, because this is a very crucial bill that the ruling government has set to introduce in the parliament, and remains to be seen how it will be tabled and discussed. And all eyes are on the FCRA bill as well. Thank you so much for joining us on this, Nalin Kohli. And now coming back to you, Sambhavi. In fact, there have been many instances where the Republic has also flagged this, be it the protest that was recently concluded in Delhi, or may it other protests in several parts of the country, where we have seen that several foreign fundings was in fact behind causing this protest. In fact, FCRA bill can also be used to apply to this, where foreign funding are also not just used for such proselytization instances, but also to cause internal disharmony within the country. So will that also be part of the whole agenda of the FCRA bill coming under this umbrella?
Well, the government aims from this amendment, especially the FCRA amendment bill, is that it is going to give greater accountability. It is going to prevent the misuse of foreign funds. And apart from that, it is also going to protect the national interest. Because we have seen, even in the exclusive Republic report that we were showing our viewers just 2 weeks back, where we showed that how proselytization has been going on in the entire Chhattisgarh, especially in the states of Dhamtari and Bastar, and how they're using foreign funds, misusing foreign funds, and forced conversion is going on. Of course, there is a lot of opposition going to not accept this amendment, or they're going to be against this amendment, saying that this is going to give greater control to the government over these NGOs, given that I was already telling you that a designated authority will be assigned who will be controlling and managing all the assets which these NGOs will be making using those foreign contributions, and they cannot freely sold or freely transfer it. So this is going to be a debate which we are looking forward to see what actually happens in the debate, what kind of contentions are being made from both sides.
In fact, it remains to be seen, and in fact, a very crucial bill to be tabled in the parliament as well. Thank you so much for joining us on this, Sambhavi. And now, viewers, we will move on to another major story. In fact, listening to Republic's executive editor Niranjan Narayanswamy for more details on the FCRA bill.
I mean, in June, Republic began an investigation. We went into different states, different parts of the Maoist hinterland, because we were following a story of Timothy Initiative, TTI, Timothy Initiative, which gets funding, which is based in America, and was pumping money into India. And essentially, money was being brought from America to India and being sent to different states like Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, etc. And this money, especially, we saw a pattern, and there was also a case filed. The pattern was that the money was being withdrawn in Maoist hinterland, and especially in Bastar, in Chhattisgarh, Dhamtari and Bastar. These are Maoist affected areas. And the Enforcement Directorate and the central agencies believe that a large chunk of this money was going into pushing people, one, into conversion, and second, into extremist ideology, to picking up arms, to convert them into Maoists. So we did a deep investigation. It was a 2 to 3 week investigation that we did, and we put the story out about 2 weeks back. And in our story that we put out this month, earlier in July, we showed how a large number of NGOs. Now, what is FCRA? FCRA is an act of Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act. Now, this bill is being brought in because in India there are thousands and thousands of NGOs. And all these NGOs are getting money into India from different countries. That's why it's called Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act. For the longest time, NGOs have used the guise of social work to get money from different countries and use it for different subversive activities, anti-national activities in India. For example, money coming in from America was being used for conversion in India. And it's not me just saying it. Investigation has proven it. There is TTI. And the investigation carried out by Republic also showed that a large chunk of this money was sent to India. And the man who was caught from TTI, Mark Mika, he was carrying foreign debit cards of a foreign bank called Truist Bank. Foreign money brought to India. Money was withdrawn using foreign debit cards in places like Damtari, in places like Bastar. And this money was withdrawn and used by church bodies. Now, this was the allegation. This was also investigated. In fact, in the course of our investigation, we went to Damtari, we went to Bastar. In fact, Shambhavi was there, and our entire team worked on it. And what we found out is that there are many NGOs that continue to get money from foreign countries and use that for conversion activities. Now, why is this bill important? This new FCRA bill is important because it brings in few changes to the FCRA Act, with mostly, as of now, the church bodies are opposing. Why the church bodies are opposing? Because as per the new FCRA Act, if an NGO does not get permission or does not get the license, or if the license, FCRA license, is not approved, then the assets of that NGO, or let's assume, or let's take for example a church, the assets of the church will be taken over by a body until the FCRA license is revoked, is given again. Now, church bodies are in panic because, and they have gone, in fact, the entire opposition for some reason is in panic. No reason for the opposition to be in panic, but it appears that mostly the opposition is in panic. Parties like Congress, parties like Left, parties like Samajwadi Party, now DMK, all of these parties have been opposing this vehemently, saying that the FCRA bill should not be going through. Interestingly, you also saw bishops from different churches actively participate and campaign in the so-called CJP protest. And then you ask a question on why were they also supporting a movement like that? It raises many questions. Many people believe that FCRA could have been the real reason. But this is significant, symbolic. What will it do? It will make sure that all foreign monies coming into India is regulated. It should.
And now, viewers, we move on to another major story from Maharashtra. Building collapse in Bhiwandi has, in fact, the death toll now risen to 10. 10 bodies have now been recovered in the building collapse in Bhiwandi, and rescue operation is still underway. This is a major urban tragedy that we are tracking. This happened in Bhiwandi in Maharashtra, and now the dead bodies that have been recovered so far has risen to 10. 10 dead bodies have now been recovered in search and rescue operations in the building collapse as well. A major tragedy in the building collapse structure. In fact, earlier the authorities have even flagged that the building was flagged for its infrastructural lapses as well. And now there are various search and rescue operations being carried out, and in order to establish people who may have been trapped under the debris of the collapse. And so far, 10 people have been pulled out under the debris and have been confirmed dead. 10 dead people have now been recovered so far. That toll continues to rise as well. In fact, my colleague Revati is on the ground tracking the rescue operation. Listening to this report that was filed from the ground.
A shocking incident happened in Thane's Bhiwandi area where a 4-story apartment, Kohinoor apartment, collapsed and around 10 people were stranded beneath the debris. I am currently in front of that very apartment where it collapsed at around 11:30 p.m. yesterday, and the rescue operation began when NDRF, TDRF and fire brigade officials reached the spot, and the rescue operation began at around 1 a.m. And now by 11 a.m. on the next day, which is today, around 9 dead bodies have been recovered, and the further procedure of autopsy is currently underway at the nearest hospital. As of now, it is suspected that one more person is currently beneath the debris, and the rescue operation to rescue that very person is currently underway. We can see that the NDRF, TDRF and fire brigade officials are currently deployed over here. We have some, you are the witness, right? So क्या हुआ था exactly बताइएगा, और जो नोटिस दिया गया था कि ये डेंजरस बिल्डिंग है, तो क्या exactly नोटिस में कहा गया?
देखिए, नोटिस में ये कहा गया था कि आपको खाली करना है, लेकिन नोटिस जिन लोगों ने दिया है मैडम, उनसे मेरा एक सवाल है कि भिवंडी शहर में ये पहली बिल्डिंग नहीं गिरी है, ठीक है? इससे पहले भी कई मौत हो चुकी है। जो मौतें हुई है, क्या भिवंडी कॉरपोरेशन उस मौत को देखकर, उस तड़पते हुए बच्चों की मौत को देखकर, औरतों की मौत को देखकर, नौजवानों की मौत को देखकर, क्या भिवंडी कॉरपोरेशन ने कुछ सीखा नहीं क्या? खाली नोटिस देना यही आपका काम है? नोटिस के बदले अगर आप उनको घर देते तो यकीनन वो खाली कर देते।
ये बिल्डिंग कोलैप्स होने का क्या मेन कारण बताया जा रहा है?
ये बताया जा रहा है कि बिल्डिंग बहुत ज़्यादा कमज़ोर हो गई थी, जिसकी वजह से नोटिस दी गई, लेकिन नोटिस देना इसका हल नहीं है, उसको शिफ्टिंग देना ये हल है। दूसरा एक अहम सवाल ये है कि मंत्री जी आए, बोले हम 5 लाख रुपया देंगे। मैं मंत्री जी से कहा हूँ कि मंत्री जी, जिन जिन लोगों के घर वालों ने इस दुनिया से चले गए, उन घर वालों को गवर्नमेंट में एक जॉब दिया जाए और उनको।
And now slipping into a very short break, but we'll be right back with you with more stories on the other side. Coming up next, families of injured cops in the CJP protest speak up. Family members demand justice for the cops injured in the protest.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है? आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट, स्वाद बढ़ाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
कहीं इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ, 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say Modi ji clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
आपको समझ ना आए तो आप घर जाके गूगल पे आप सर्च कर लेना ये क्या नारा है। वो नारा देते थे वास्ते गुने हुइयां, और वो नारा देते थे इतने प्यार से, इतनी खूबसूरत तरीके से इस्तीफा मांगते थे। कहते थे, जब आपसे इस्तीफा भी मांगते थे तो कहते थे कुचू पुचू इस्तीफा दे दो, आज हमारा जन्मदिन है।
विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए, तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया, तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते, तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन करते हैं।
So these are the 3 categories: student, idiot, and andbhakt who follows the idiot. Now,
है कि खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बना। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 1 अधिनियम सूत्र और विधेयक का पूरा नाम विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ।
जिन लोगों ने विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ किया, वे जेलों में सड़ रहे हैं। हमने मात्र एक कोर्ट बना।
अध्यक्ष जी, जहां पर कांग्रेस शासित यूपीए ने पॉलिसी वैक्यूम करा, वहीं पर अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say मोदी जी clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
जेनजी की भाषा में मैं, अरे सुनो यार, सुनने की आदत रखो। जेनजी की भाषा में विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए, तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया, तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते, तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन करते हैं।
Decorated officers targeted by CJP goons. Officers attacked, families seek justice. Show solidarity with our forces. Debating tonight at 8 p.m.
Presenting by Zoho Business Software, trusted by 15 crore users. Berger Paints, रंग बना रहे. Powered by Century HTF Premium Plus, हरे बोट का असली बॉस.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे. केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार. विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात. वाओ मम्मा, क्या स्वाद है. अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा आरती और मसाला.
I wake up wearing someone else again. Skin tight like porcelain. I don't recognize these eyes. Something scratching from inside. Don't let it slip. I'm losing control. I don't wanna be safe anymore. Underneath there's a fire they can't keep. No more faces.
Finding myself. That's my moment of Sarah.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ और
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट. ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े. चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े.
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized. But, you know, we got to smack them a little bit.
The United States has launched airstrikes on Iran hours after President Donald Trump warned Tehran of a strong military response. The strikes mark the first major American attack since Trump paused the bombing campaign last week. Trump had earlier vowed to hit Iran very hard after an Iranian missile attack on an American base in Jordan. Within hours, US forces launched retaliatory strikes, escalating tensions across the Middle East.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but, you know, we got to smack them a little bit. Yeah, I think more so that, yeah, because it was another smaller event. But no, they sent 8,000-mile-an-hour missiles at us, and fortunately we had our people operating the greatest equipment in the world, namely the Patriot system. Think of it. 5 missiles going 8,600 miles an hour, big ones, coming right at us, and all 5 were shot down. How about that, right? Pretty good. Nobody else could do that but us, yeah.
US forces began launching strikes against Iran at 8 p.m. ET today. The strikes are a powerful response to yesterday's attempted Iranian attacks on US forces based in the Middle East. The escalation comes after Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed responsibility for a missile attack on a US airbase and command center in Jordan. The US military says all the missiles were intercepted. Even as airstrikes continue, CENTCOM says it is strictly enforcing the American blockade against Iran. As of July 29, US forces have redirected 20 commercial vessels, disabled 2 and boarded 2 others.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Headlines brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Life imprisonment to former Aam Aadmi Party leader Tahir Hussain in Delhi riots case. Tahir was accused of leading the violent mob that killed Ankit Sharma. Delhi court observes the barbarity of the crime is nauseating and sickening. Life imprisonment to Tahir after police sought the death penalty. Stage set for FCRA debate in Parliament, bill to be tabled next week in Lok Sabha. Two weeks after Republic exposed the FCRA files, the bill to be tabled now in Parliament. Families of injured cops in CJP protests speak up. Family members demand justice. Ten dead in building collapse in Maharashtra's Bhiwandi. Rescue operations underway. Pakistan faces global backlash for massacre in Pakistan-occupied Jammu Kashmir. 50 UK MPs write to UK Foreign Secretary over the violence. Viewers, a big breakthrough in India's aim for energy security. Now, the cabinet has approved Samudra Manthan scheme with an outlay of 84,084 crore rupees for offshore oil and gas exploration. In fact, the plan will be implemented for the next 5 years up to financial year 2030 to 2031, and it will be targeting discovery of over 600 million metric tons of oil exploration in oil and gas reserves, and the funding is in fact aimed at frontier basins and ultra-deep water exploration scheme, and it is expected to drag in huge domestic investments and job creation. The government has also set up integrated oil and gas manufacturing services zone with regards to this major scheme. I have my colleague Nitin joining us from the newsroom to give us more information in this. Nitin, this is a major push towards India's aim for energy security. And this is also regarding job creation and also seabed oil exploration. And a major outlay has also been reserved for this scheme. Tell us more in this detail.
Right, so what basically the approval of Samudra Manthan, a scheme that means India's domestic capabilities in terms of domestic oil and gas exploration is going to proliferate to an extent that's never seen before. At a time where the US-Iran war has disrupted the global oil chain supply, this means not only oil and gas security, but also job security for Indians. It's going to lead to a creation of thousands of jobs, is what the centre has assured. Now, the breaking that we have on this is that Republic spoke exclusively to ONGC officials, and what they've stated as part of this bigger, larger oil and gas scheme that has just been approved by the cabinet led by Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi today, is that more than Western onshore and offshore exploration, the centre is extremely keen on pivoting towards energy and gas exploration in its eastern region. Now this includes Bay of